Imagine blinking and your life completely changes in an instant. Well, sounds like an exciting fairy tale, doesn't it? But for me, a 9-year-old Jamaican immigrant coming to the United States of America, it was not quite like a fairy tale. My story today will be sharing about culture shock and how I dealt with it, overcame, and is succeeding today. So, starting off my story, the paradise, Jamaica, the island that is all over the world. People take vacations. They go to enjoy the vibes and the irie. That was my home. That was a place where I could be myself. I could joke around. I could laugh. I could speak the way I'm speaking now, and it's perfectly articulate because I'm Jamaican. The food, the dancing, the vibes, it's unlike any other, and I was proud of it. No one could take me away from my heritage. No one could stop me from repping my green, gold, and black, because that's me. Well, in November 2009, my mom whisked me away from school in a sudden pickup and says, well, we're gonna go take a trip. Trip? I don't go on trips. School and church is all I know. We're going to Disneyland? Disneyland, where I can see Mickey and Cinderella? Oh yeah, I'm enjoying this trip. Excited was what I replied to her. That was my feeling. That was everything that I exuded, was just optimism. But when I entered into the terminal and my mom says, Ashley's on the phone. Ashley wants to talk to you and tell you goodbye. I'm like, girl, I'm going to Disney World. What? She was hysterical, crying tears that I could feel within myself. Lorelle, you're not coming back. I'm never going to see you again. And I said, you are being ridiculous. I'm going to enjoy myself and I'm going to bring something back just to show you. I'll bring a souvenir or something. Little did I know, and if I had known back then, I would have taken her words a little bit more drastically. Because as we landed in Atlanta, Georgia, on a very cold, cold night, I realized in that immigration office that this might have to be my new home. I was upset, I was confused, but my mother repeated to me over and over again, be positive, stay optimistic, believe in what I taught you and the God that you serve, and that is what I held dear. So I put on a smile, and as soon as I started school in Miss Tech's classroom in J.C. McGill Elementary in Gwinnett County, specifically Loganville, Georgia, and all the trees were changing colors, things I've never seen before, I remained optimistic. I entered that classroom and my teacher says, hey, you have a new student, guys. New student, new girl. What does that term mean? I've never heard of that before in my life. And quickly, children from all over, even classes next door, ran in to say, oh, where did you come from? What did you do there? I replied proudly, Jamaica, the island of Jamaica. They did not know where that was. They did not have understanding. So when they asked their next question, it was, do you run with lions? Were you born in a hospital? Were you living in a hut? And I was bewildered. I was like, okay. So they don't know what Jamaica is, and they do not know where I'm coming from. This is gonna be a little different. So I kept optimistic. And I said, you know what? I can teach them. But as quickly as the crowd gathered was as quickly as the cloud dispersed, and I was left alone, not understanding the papers of classwork I had next. So I asked a friend, and I kept asking because guess what? Education was everything to me. But the shock that I felt and I received is none other than culture shock. And that's what sparked my interest in learning more about this and handling and dealing with it. Anthropologist Philip Bach wrote very simply in my summarized version that culture shock is the anxiety you feel when you don't have the understanding of what other people may think, perceive, or have a view of you. That's what I felt. I didn't know what they were gonna say and what they were gonna think. And one of the very few tips that he did say, to identify what culture shock truly is feeling a sense of loss and deprivation. I felt as if I lost my paradise. The place where I could go down the street and get a jelly and drink coconut water and go to the beach whenever I feel like it and enjoy the food and just the people around me who I wanted to grow up and help. I wanted to be that person that lend a hand to the community because that community gave so much to me. But I can't do that in a different country. I can't do that in a different life, in a different area where I had no one to support me. I felt alone. I felt as if there was no one there to help me. So, with this feeling of loss, what comes with it, unfortunately, is a feeling of rejection. Coming to a new country, you don't have the resources and the money because you don't have jobs. So while my classmates were sporting Justice and Aeropostale and Skechers of the latest brand, sneakers that light up, guys, light up sneakers, I was faithfully in Time and True, the Walmart brand. That was what I rocked. And it wasn't any pretty pattern either. It was very plain Jane. And I had to make sure that I make it last. Couldn't mess it up because mom does not have the money to replenish it. So I walked around in Time and True. But as I walked around in Time and True, I realized that I'm even more different from the people around me. Oh, Lorelle, she doesn't know what Jordans are. Lorelle, she doesn't wear Skechers. She's not cool. I can't explain how devastating that can be to a 9-year-old. And my language, realizing that speaking the way I'm speaking now is how I speak because of how I grew up. I can't explain the accent. I can't explain the background behind it. It's just who I am. But I was seen as broken. Patois is the language that we speak, is the dialect. And others call it broken English, but to me, it was fluid. To me, it was beautiful, eloquent. It was nice, real nice. But I was given, she's illiterate. She sounds so stupid. I can't understand her. But you didn't try to understand me. And that made me pull back even more from the identity that I felt. Which leads me to the last point, feeling of loss in my identity and who I am. At some point in middle school, it struck me like a chord that I cannot fit in this area unless I change who I am. So, this language that I speak completely and utterly changed to become this language. Instead, I spoke this way because this was seen as intelligent, because this was seen as put together. This would get me anywhere I needed to go because I sounded smart. They didn't understand who I was, and they didn't try to understand, but I remained optimistic. So I told my mom, I want to get a perm. So these beautiful locks that you see today was not what I rocked a couple years ago. My hair was straight, it was damaged, but I looked like everyone else, and that was all that mattered. Okay, I want to go to the parties. I want to have a sleepover. Mommy was not having that though, so those things didn't work out. But then I want to eat like them. Didn't know what a Hot Pocket was at first when I came here, but was I eating a Hot Pocket every day? Yes. I would tell my classmates, oh, have you tried the ones with the pepperoni? Oh, amazing. I put on this shell because that was the only way that I would be seen as worth it, that I was gonna be seen as true, and seen as a woman, a child, a girl with real dreams that can make it. So this carried on for years. For years until I stepped foot onto this campus, Georgia Southwestern State University. And I met a group of people who completely shook my core because they wanted to know my core. They wanted to know this island girl with so much spice and flavor. And they wanted to help cultivate her into being the leader she needs to be. My friends, my family members, my leaders here that I look up to, they saw me for me. And they didn't try to change who I was because I just didn't seem to fit in, and I was not in Americas as a person who was born here in Americas, but I came from Montego Bay, St. James, Jamaica. And because of this, I want to say to you that culture shock is not just for those who are immigrants. Culture shock happens to even the freshman that comes here to college. Do not change who you are. Do not try to assimilate. Don't remove the core that God has given you to make you the existence that you are. You have purpose. You have a dream and you have a goal. And that goal is only going to be fulfilled completely if you are you. So be you. Shine and glow. Thank you. Thank you.